Who is George Santos?
George Santos, to me, is a bunch of lies.
That's a really good question, and I don't think anybody really knows.
Since George Santos's decisive victory in the 2022 midterm elections,
this is really who he is. He's a fraud.
nearly every day has brought new revelations about his life of lies.
I knew him as Anthony DeVolder from Jackson Heights, Queens.
And here I am. Today I'm a proud regional director of a $1.5 billion fund.
You know, my grandparents survived the Holocaust.
My mom was a 9/11 survivor.
So we set out to uncover who George Santos really is.
In the campaign, I'd say, guys, I'm Jewish.
Leading a campaign of deceit that took him from humble beginnings to the halls of power.
All right, we're going to get started in about 60 seconds.
So thank you all for coming today. George Santos' campaign last year was a campaign of deceit, lies, and fabrication. Today, on behalf of the Nassau County Republican Committee, I am calling for his immediate resignation. Ladies and
These
gentlemen,
are the Republican Party bosses who hold political power in New York's 3rd Congressional District.
Today, I'm calling on George Santos to immediately resign from Congress for the 3rd District.
5 days after the new Congress was sworn in down in Washington, they admitted publicly that they had been duped by the candidate they handpicked.
Congratulations.
He is a stain on the House of Representatives. He's a stain on the 3rd Congressional District.
He should resign. Thank you.
Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Thank you all.
Do you feel any personal responsibility for what happened?
of course we take some responsibility, and I'm not backing away from it. We take this seriously. We try to get the best candidates. Everything just fell in place for this guy, and shame on us.
Had you ever seen anything like this?
No, and I hope I never see it again.
Is this it? Hi, how are you? Good afternoon. My name is George Santos. I'm running for United States Congress.
Before George Santos became a household name, he began his political career with a failed bid for Congress during the pandemic. In a district that had gone for Democrats for 5 consecutive elections, Santos lost by more than 12 points.
Back then, Santos was a fringe candidate with almost no money.
Evan Stavisky has been a Democratic strategist in New York for more than 20 years.
After he lost, Santos went down to Washington and said the election was stolen from Donald Trump, which is a lie, and that the election was stolen from him, which is a lie.
They did to me what they did to Donald J. Trump. They stole my election.
Santos rallied the crowd before January 6th, and he partied at Mar-a-Lago on New Year's. But as the saying goes, all politics is local. And turning to the 2022 election,
His family lived the American dream. But now George Santos has seen that dream become a nightmare.
meant figuring out an identity that would connect with voters in New York's 3rd District.
This is one of the most affluent congressional districts in America. If you've ever seen The Great Gatsby, it's set on the North Shore of Long Island. It's traditionally known as the Gold Coast of Long Island. Very affluent, old money communities in a town called Oyster Bay. That's the largest share of this district.
Santos had been refining his story of Wall Street success for a long time. This is what he told CBS News in 2020.
Let me tell you a quick story, and then maybe this helps, right? When I first started in my career at Citigroup, I was told, oh, you're a really smart guy. And here I am. Today I'm a proud regional director of a $1.5 billion fund.
The story that he always told me was that he was super successful. There's like that old saying that money talks and wealth whispers. He talked, it didn't whisper.
Ryan Gerdesky runs Republican campaigns in New York. Santos asked him to run his.
George said to me, I'm looking for a campaign manager. Would you want to be it? And I said, George, thank you, but I'll think about it. When I say I'm thinking about it, it's a no. I could have been a lot deeper than I am usually.
On this financial disclosure form for his campaign, Santos said he was worth as much as $11 million. Gerdesky says Santos told him he was worth 10 times that.
He would say that he was worth $100 million. That was his net worth. He's like, I made $100 million when I was 30.
A woman I know very well, he went shopping with her to the Americana Mall in Manhasset, talking about how wealthy he was and how he was a preferred buyer at Hermes.
Grant Lally knows the wealthy Republican circle Santos was trying to win over as well as anyone. He ran for Congress there as a Republican back in 2014 and lost.
I know he gushed on that trip over Ferragamo shoes and bragged to her that she couldn't really afford Ferragamo shoes, but they were wonderful and that he always used them.
One of the most prestigious private high schools in New York City is the Horace Mann School in the Bronx. Santos claimed it on his campaign website as his alma mater. On his resume, he said he went to the city's public business school, Baruch College, on a volleyball scholarship, where he said he won the championship.
I'm many things before anybody brings in my sexual orientation to the table. Not that I'm ashamed of it. I'm openly gay. I'm married. I mean, it's not a secret, right? Like we all do our Wine Wednesdays. Whatever.
Santos spoke frequently and proudly of being an openly gay Republican candidate.
It's about the American dream.
A lot of people wanted an openly gay Republican, as a lot of people wanted to say, like, look, we've moved past the Bush years, and George would be a great representation for that.
It's an honor to live in such a diverse part of the country.
On the campaign trail, Santos said he was Jewish, like many of the voters in his district.
You know, my grandparents survived the Holocaust.
The stories resonated. The money came pouring in. For 2022, Santos raised more than $3 million. Months before Election Day, Santos was running unopposed in the GOP primary when he caught the luckiest break in politics.
Major changes to New York State politics as a court-appointed expert has released a draft of new congressional maps for New York State.
I call this a reverse bait and switch. He's already on the ballot, and a brand new district is drawn that goes from being a non-competitive Democratic district to a leans Republican district. But he's already the nominee.
George Santos, let's go. Running for Congress in this district. Let's hear it for George.
On the stump, Santos tapped the GOP playbook.
We have criminals running the state of New York.
I want Biden gone.
But then Santos took it a step further. He wove himself into the most painful day in New York City's history, tying his story to the attacks on the World Trade Center.
My mom was a 9/11 survivor. She was in the South Tower, and she made it out. She got caught up in the ash cloud. My mom fought cancer till her death.
When the election finally came, Santos went toe-to-toe against experienced Democrat Robert Zimmerman.
Are you calling me anti-Semitic like you also called me homophobic recently on your social media?
I said you support homophobes.
That's not true. I'm a gay married man, Robert.
I'm over there.
I'm over there.
Okay.
George was 100% confident he was going to win, and then on election night, he not only won, but he crushed it. I mean, one of the best election victories you could possibly want for any Republican that night was George Santos.
Only in this country can the kid who came from the basement in Jackson Heights. That's it.
Santos delivered a big victory for Republicans.
That's his sister. Oh, she's crying.
Thank you very much, and God bless you, and God bless the USA.
He runs, he wins. We didn't suspect anything. And then, of course, after the election, the world went upside down.
Eles moravam aqui, que me parece uma residência dividida com 4 famílias.
Santos's parents were Brazilian, and while the coastal town of Niterói, Brazil is a world away from New York's 3rd congressional district, it's where Adriana Parisi says George Santos stayed as a young adult while his mother struggled with a gambling problem. She knew him by his middle name, Anthony.
Mas em relação a Anthony é capaz de qualquer coisa para ter poder.
Santos denies what Parisi told us, that he stole jewelry from her. She never reported him to the police, but store clerk Carlos Bruno Simoes did.
Comprou calças, camisas, vários itens e também par de tênis que, segundo ele, era para presentear namorado. Acho que na época era muita grana, era muito dinheiro.
The boutique where Simoes worked has since shut down, but Brazilian court documents show that in 2010, Santos admitted to forging stolen checks. Simoes never got the $1,300 he was owed, and prosecutors seemingly lost track of Santos when he disappeared from the country.
Congressman, do you have a response to New York? We're still calling for you to step down?
Since the 34-year-old's congressional win, many of the stories Santos told on the campaign trail have been exposed as outright lies.
You have more Republicans from New York who are still asking you to step down.